Welcome to Daggers and Shadow Daddies.
We're your hosts, Ryan and Adriana.
Buckle up, Buttercup. They fuck a lot.
Yes, I even marked how many times they had sex.
Okay, did you mark for how many minutes throughout this 2 chapters of them fucking is?
No, it was 6 times.
That's not that much.
Well, 6 times
2
were
days.
stated. They banged several times throughout the night. She just said she couldn't get any sleep. But as far as the amount of times that she told us explicitly, then I tore after him again, it was 6.
It's that new relationship sex.
Yes.
Where you both know that you're into each other and you're just like, oh my God. It's all been pent up for a while. You remember those days where you're like, oh man, you're just drinking Gatorade and eating granola bars to have some energy, and then you're just back at it.
It's called the frenzy, is what they called it.
I think it's accurate.
Mist and frenzy is what I have.
Frenzy. Oh, I did a cursory search on penis.
What do you mean?
Illyrian dick.
Oh, you
did I say that too early in this? Are we not warmed up for that?
No, we can't. We can go into this. This is what you spent your time doing instead of taking notes?
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds not good. But I feel like it's pertinent information because Sarah J. Maas does not actually give us measurements. Some amazing Redditor, whom I can't remember, so I can't credit, but like 2 years ago, went through and did some math on this stuff. This was assuming ratios of wingspans that were anywhere from 30 to 34 feet for Cassian and
34
Rhysand.
feet?
Yeah, so they went through and figured out the physics of what it would take wingspan-wise if they were similar to a bat's wings to achieve lift enough for them to use them functionally. I would argue that this person, equally pedantic to me, maybe worse. Because also the reality of if you had wings that were 30-some feet, can you imagine how huge those wings would have to be, even folded? You'd need trifold wings.
It sounds like quadruple, like just back forward, like an accordion.
Let's say that they are spaced out roughly 2 feet, right, from their back. So it's 30 feet.
We're not getting into the math.
1 second, so that's 28, and then you have 14 foot on each side. If they touched the ground nearly, let's say they're only 6 inches off the ground, right? And these guys are roughly 7 feet tall. That would mean that the wings still stick up about 6 inches above them.
No.
And then they're folded in half.
No, we're done.
It's not a good deal. Anyway, there was a lot of math involved.
To land with 34 feet, that's obviously not true.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's fantasy book, but here's the thing.
This is how we end up. Use magic to fly.
Okay, but we end up with, we needed wingspans in order to get ratios for penile length, right? Girth is a difficult measurement. We don't get a measurement of girth in this.
I like how you said need. But this is what we need.
I like numbers, and you like penis. So it seemed like a good middle ground for us. Okay. So
how big is Rhysand? What did you end with?
Okay. So here's the funny thing. He goes through and figures Cassian and Azrael, and then it's like, well, Rhysand's wingspan is figured to be roughly the same as Cassian's. Cassian and Rhysand have a penis length of anywhere from 6.5 to like 7.25 inches.
Okay.
Like it wasn't, and that was if you went with a 5-to-1 ratio, it was like 7.25, which is a generous ratio, but still, that's not enough penis, I don't think. You get Azrael, who's anywhere from 7.5, depending on the ratio. Like I said, there's 2 opposing ratios that could be used here. To 8.25, and I think at 8.25, you can be impressed. You can be like, wow, that's
Ryan, we're not going to talk about penis size.
Not for the whole thing, but you said I could go through this with you. All I'm saying is Azrael is the monster dong of the group, but I don't think that 8.25 still gives him. That's not enough to where you're like, holy shit, that's a crazy big penis. That's just a large human penis. It's not a massive fey dong. From the horse dick that I was expecting, I'm not going to lie, I was left unsatisfied by this math. So I went through and tried to do some of my own. And we won't get into my math because you're not interested in hearing more about it, but I could bend the numbers enough to where they ended up with, they're like Cassian and Rhys were like an 8-inch penis and Azrael was rocking like a 9-inch dick.
The science will not happen no matter how much math you add to this because it doesn't even work in real life to compare.
Oh, you're saying foot size as a ratio?
Yeah.
It's not
it
an
doesn't work
exact
that way.
thing, but it's a pretty indicative thing. No pun intended.
I'm going to have to fact check you on this one.
Okay. I think I know the easiest way to fact check this. It's going to be an awkward conversation between your coworkers' husbands and I. We're measuring feet and dick next weekend.
No.
Yep. I think it's the only appropriate thing to do.
Anyways,
All right.
moving this along away from penis talk.
Well, we're going to get right back to that. It's 2 chapters of this book.
6 times they banged one out. Definitely a frenzy. Her skin glowed.
How did they start banging one out? I want to get into that. Was I right?
Yes, you were right.
He went downtown to Flavortown.
Yes, he did.
Town and town. They don't rhyme. They're just the same word, and I tried to make it rhyme.
We should have known when she first looked at his tattoos on his knees and that phrase he said, "I kneel for no one."
And now they're tattooed knee pads. He's like, they're just for you.
I don't think I could handle all the mess for the paint. She's like, there's paint everywhere. I'm like, eh. It's like banging on a beach when people discuss that. I'm like, sand. Ugh.
Yeah, listen, I've been your sexual partner long enough to know the best way to get you in the mood is I clean the fucking house. Like, I make sure the house is clean, not just for that. To be fair, I also don't enjoy messes. But if our bedroom was a mess, there's nobody getting laid in there.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, no, thank you. And I also heard, oh, there's paint all over us. And he drew an arrow.
He did?
Yeah,
I don't remember this.
He drew like a line. I assumed it was an arrow. I think it might have just been a line from like her boobs down through the navel straight to her vagine.
Oh.
So that he's like, this way you know where it ends. And I'm like, I think she could have figured that out without the map there, big dog. He's trying to Tom his way into her heart. Trying to Garmin his way into her gooch.
These spicy scenes didn't do it for me either.
Okay.
That's another thing I gotta add. It didn't get me going at all.
The description of the blowjob was so funny because you're like, here, it's for the boys. And I'm like, no, it isn't. There's like 3 seconds of it where she's describing the blowjob as the act and another 2 minutes of how in depth she's describing his penis in her mouth. And I'm like, it's not as much for the boys as you think. It is more about his dick than what she's doing to it.
That's true. When I re-listened, I realized that was not for the boys. It was for the girls, and I don't think it was for me.
It's because you were like, well, he's not actually rocking the horse cock according to the math. You need more penis.
I think because they were in such a frenzy, it was just they moved quickly. And this chapter needed to go through 6 sex scenes. That's pretty fast. So it just moved through really quickly.
They didn't have sex for that long, the first few, and I found that kind of interesting. But I think, of course, by like round 3, just refractory periods are keeping you in the game longer. You know, I think what I really found impressive was he waited to go back to find her until he was completely healed, probably because he needed the stamina. Like, he's like, just in case this works out, I know what we're going to be doing for the next 2 days.
And why he finished the soup, he's like, this is all I'm going to eat.
Nutrients.
Well.
Soup. That's true. It's not all he's eating. Gonna tear after a roast beef sandwich.
They talked about a ceremony and how they can do a ceremony to, I don't know, what is it? It's almost like a wedding, but it's not the official part. They did the official part, but we can now do a ceremony to tell others.
So I would say that the ceremony is the official part. It's kind of a difference between eloping and getting married. Right, having a wedding. I would say they are currently eloping, where to them, that relationship is as solid and as guaranteed as it could be.
Even legal, I think it counts.
We haven't heard of the Fey law system yet. And again, I would love a 20-page dissertation on taxation, laws, all of these things done.
No.
Sarah, if you have time, please.
No.
I'm hoping the next...
You just write it up. Just be a fan who
There's
writes
not enough
stuff.
information. It would all be fan fiction.
You could make it up.
I feel like me spending my time doing that would be awesome and I would enjoy it, but nobody else gives a shit.
You're already spending your time putting a playlist together for these books.
Oh, I am not going to lie. It's going to be great for me and nobody else is going to give a shit. But you're going to have to listen to at least 40 of the songs.
I think we'll have to do like a little mini episode of you explaining why you pick these songs.
That's true.
Because it's not going to make sense to other people.
What?
When you look up...
I think it's quite intuitive.
No. Even flow. Why is that on here?
Again, unless they're young audience members, they'll know.
No one's random people can find Spotify playlists and see the titles and all that. If they see A Court of Thorns and Roses playlist and they see your songs, they will be very confused. Oftentimes, it's a whimsical, romantic songs.
My music?
No.
Yeah.
Not yours.
Oh.
The songs in these types of playlists for books that you can listen to while reading.
I think anybody that listens to the Trues will understand why the one song that the Trues had that was big makes sense for these characters. It makes sense for the part where she just bails. Like, she's like, nothing you could say would make me want to leave you. And then 5 seconds later, she's like, oh my God, we're mated pair, fuck off. And then she leaves. It just... And then Angel in the morning for the next day after they've had sex. Oh my gosh. There's going to be Charlie Pride. There's going to be everybody in this.
Just keep working on your playlist. When it's done, let me know.
You people better get stoked. It's going to be one hell of an episode.
You never said anything about when I said her skin glowed. What was that about?
She's bioluminescent. She's got fish blood.
No, I think she mentioned, is it day court? And Rhysand didn't answer her.
Oh, I assumed it was jellyfish juice that got her.
No, it's when she's happy.
Okay, so I was joking. I have no idea. She's a human mood ring. That's what I took it as. I'm feeling orgasmic, and she's just glowing. And then she's kind of angry, and she glows a different color.
Or she's just on fire.
She's sad, and she turns blue. Oh, sad Feyre noises.
Well, you're no help. I kind of wondered what the glowing was.
I don't think we're...
And if it's any use, being bright, I don't...
Yeah, if she was in like a dark cave, or she wakes up in the middle of the night, she has to pee, and there's no fire, she can't see, she doesn't have to use night vision, she just glows. Oh my God, I bet sex at nighttime is crazy. You kill all the lights.
Ryan, that was literally chapter 55. Her talking about her glowing in his shadows as they're banging.
Yeah, but he had shadows. It was still daytime when they started that sex, right?
I don't know. His shadows were blacking out the room, and then her glowing body started to fill the room too. She was talking about the starlight. Were you not listening?
No, honestly. Okay, so during the sexy time stuff, I would like check in every once in a while and see if it's still going on, but my brain just didn't stay with that.
Yeah, the whole point of one of these sex scenes, it was sex scene number 2, that they're in the bedroom. They brought the paint with them. Well, I think
the paint was just there. I thought she said we spilled the paint.
This is like part 2 of sex scene number 1, because they started on the table, paint everywhere, picks her up, takes her to the bedroom. Now, They still haven't fucked against a wall, or did they? They didn't, no.
Okay.
But he did do his roar, and the mountain shook.
Cute. Good for him, I guess.
But
they can't have neighbors when they fuck.
At one point, maybe it was after the bath time. Maybe it was that one. And she's talking about... No, they were about to. She was straddling him, and she said it would be so easy. And then he just stands up. And at first, I imagine him just standing up, and he's just in her face. Yeah. But I think he actually picked her up, and they walked out of the bathtub together. And this is how poor I am. I imagined a bathroom like ours, just a regular tub, until they said, and they stepped down, they walked down the steps into the tub. I'm like, oh, this is rich. I need to improve my imagination.
I love that you're like, we're so poor, you have to step over and into our tub. There's a surface level tub. You're like, God damn, we're broke.
No.
What the fuck? We need a tub with stairs in it.
I'm just imagined a regular tub.
Honestly, I love it.
And he had to move the curtains. Nope. Turns out it was huge tub. More than 2 people, I think, could fit in there if it has steps going down into it.
That's for the 3rd book. Group sex. Feyre busts out the paints and everybody's getting lathered up.
No, we're moving you on.
I want to respect Rhys's whole thing, though, of not having sex in the tub.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
Yeah, and it reduces the chance of infection. If you're somebody who's considering having sex in a tub, please keep in mind, all the shit that comes off your body is in that water. You don't want it.
I don't think people need a PSA.
No?
No.
People have sex in hot tubs, and that's gross.
Yeah, that's on them.
Get out of the hot tub before you have sex.
A PSA from our podcast is not what's going to rescue those people.
It could. If I just save one person from a weird, like, what do you call that? Urinary tract infection, that's enough. I'm the hero of this story.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, non-UTI having listener.
Pregnancy talk. They talk about pregnancy. She didn't take the brew. He didn't. But if she did within a day, it'd be fine.
It's plan B.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to quite talk about it yet, but I'm going to now.
I'm sorry you were pushed into it.
I don't think she took any.
Oh, no.
We know Feyre to kind of hem and haw a little bit over decisions. There wasn't a scene in these last several days of her thinking about, oh, I need to take this. Where do I see myself when I have a baby and all this stuff? She did none of that. So I don't think she took it.
I wonder if she needs to like go through this whole group of people protesting outside of a planned Feyhood thing where they're ignoring all the real issues in the world, like the starving and the Highburn warriors and shit coming. And they're like, we just need these babies. And Fey babies are so rare that there's just one place in all of Prithian, and they're like, oh, we got to go to the day court where it's legal. It's their Canada.
Unfortunately, Ryan was very offensive, and we've had to cut out a lot.
Oh, we cut that?
We don't have anything. Ryan responds to her not taking on a contraceptive brew.
Hold on, you're cutting all of them?
Yes.
No, what about the last one? It wasn't that bad.
No.
Come on.
No.
Okay, then give me one more attempt.
Last attempt.
But then we keep in the part where you said you're cutting everything else out?
Sure.
Good, because I don't want him to think that I'm not fun. Oh, man. I bet Rhysand's just been slipping it in her wine. So he's like, oh, you haven't been taking it. Oh, no. Well, it's both of our decision. But he didn't want to, like, have a baby out of wedlock this whole time. He's like, that would really fuck up my whole plan.
Stop it.
I think that one's a keeper.
Sure.
Okay. The least offensive way to put this. It's still horrible. Oh, man. I think 2 out of the 3 of those could make the cut.
0.
I'm gonna look on your face.
A half a 1.
Oh, okay.
Chapter 56. Because we just ended on their frenzy, and then they left to go see their friends.
Oh, no. You didn't discuss how they went to go eat something, and they couldn't hardly look at each other. Because they're like, oh, no, if one of us speaks or one of us looks at the other one, we're going to fuck again.
Yes.
That's so awesome. I've never heard of such tension in a room and so desired.
Well, she just looks at him and she throbs, is what I got from all this.
Yeah, which, again, I'm envious of this. Every man on the planet has no idea what that means other than Henry Cavill.
Because later he enters the Illyrian... He enters the Illyrian room after him and Cassian get in a fight. And she's just like, oh my God, I must have him. And he's just like, you shall. Everyone just leaves. The Illyrian children and mothers are still flying in the air, terrified during this.
They should be. Rhysand's like, I'm going to be making animal noises. Get ready. He roars directly into her vagina.
What?
And the vibration from that roar causes her to come immediately.
Oh my God.
No?
No.
Okay.
I'm
trying to have my own thing.
So much from the discomfort that you had to go through to listen to this.
So much. It's
Twice.
I think I'm not good at these books because I don't want to hear or see other people having sex.
Yeah.
It would be like walking into a room and 2 people are doing it. And I get the feeling that you book talk girlies would just like sit there and watch for a while and be like, okay, well, Henry Cavill said that we could look, so it's fine. And you're just watching Henry Cavill plow some random person, and you're like, good for her. We're happy for her.
What did you think about when Cassian egged on Rhysand, saying she doesn't look too tired? I bet I could have a go at her.
It sounds like something I would have said to a friend of mine before I got my ass beat as well. I think it worked great as a joke, but it was a utilitarian thing too. He's like, hey, you're clearly on edge. You got to work off some of that aggression. It's almost like people that are too hopped up on testosterone.
Yeah.
Where he's just amped all the way, and he's like, we're fucking or fighting. And he looks at Cassian, and he kind of debated which one he would do, and Cassian's like, I think I'd rather be punched in the face. So Cassian's like, I'm going to say this so he doesn't fuck me. That's kind of what I got from it. And what's weird is Rhysand immediately is like, I'm sorry if I'm on edge. This totally happens every time. We get jealous and hormonal when we first initiate this mating bond. I've seen people kill people over this. So he's well aware of it.
She looked a little too long at Azriel or something about Azriel, and then she looked away, and Rhysand had this look, and then he had this, oh, fuck, sorry.
Yeah, well, I think he was worried Azriel was going to be like, you want to see what a real penis looks like? You've had the fun size. Get ready for it's a party pack of penis over here, baby. And he just like unfolds it.
Stop. We're not getting into this again.
It's a penis pod.
No.
Here we go. Well, that's what these chapters were all about. And if you were looking longingly at somebody who's rocking a crazy...
It's not about the penis. It's about the seduction.
You think Azriel is more seductive than Rhysand?
Maybe. He's quiet.
Okay. Yeah, he is. If that's what attracts you to people, I'm the least attractive human being. Because I am not that.
You're the most so far like Cassian, which is really comical because you constantly relate me to Nesta, and now we can see that those two get together.
Oh, I called that as a thing, and then I forgot that was a thing until since that episode.
Yes.
Where he's very sweet to her now after the Queens. I missed all of that as foreshadowing.
Yes.
That's so amazing.
Well, we don't quite know where that's going, but I mean, it's pretty clear where this is going.
Wait, are you saying I got medium wings? It's about the penis, Adri. I better be Azriel. Okay, come on. Oh, nothing. Okay. Moving on. I see how it is. That's it. We're doing a live wing measuring. It is 42-foot wingspan.
Gonna get us banned on TikTok again.
But this time we're going to deserve it. God damn it. I think there's other penis on TikTok. I think you can post it. You just can't monetize it or something.
We're not monetizing our stuff, and all we are is talking about fantasy dick.
Yeah, and I want to post penis.
No.
We would get some followers.
Wrong audience. I have to note that Feyre was thirsty after both of them, watching them wrestle. She's like, these Illyrian boys.
She's like, I bet that tub seats 3. Yeah.
Oh, and then I have another X. Anytime there's an X in my notes, it's just a sex scene is what it is. Because now we have an X because Rhysand walks back in.
Because he walked in swaggeredly.
Handsomely.
And he loves those boobs.
Yes.
I would kill for one more moment where he's like, I do of
the amount of times that we reference this in real life now.
30 times yesterday, easily. You wore a shirt where I was just like, every time I looked at you, I was just like, I love these.
You have no idea how much I love these.
These are my favorite. Everywhere we went. At some point, I thought you were getting upset with it, and it still would not stop happening. Like, I couldn't prevent myself from having that moment. So maybe I understand. Maybe I get really sad.
You even did it when we were getting, like, messing around. You were just like, you have no idea how much I love these. And we just started laughing, and then it worked.
I'm telling you. I think maybe I could learn something from Rhysand. The levity it adds to sexy stuff, so funny to me. But it's also for just times in the grocery store. It's a good phrase. Right now,
Continuing on, after the begged one out in the Illyrian house, they go to the House of Wind, and everyone stands up, and it was like almost a formal welcome to the family moment, and that they are there to serve and protect her.
One of them is there to serve her, if you know what I mean. Service her. No.
Overall, it was a really cute scene. Everyone welcoming her. And she has now, after she accepted that her and Rhysand are mates, she is referencing Velaris as home. And she's referencing their friends as family.
Yes, agreed. I think that's really lovely. I wonder, like, Mor was offended, right? She's like, would it be so awful to be a part of our family?
Yeah, I don't blame her still. She seems better now, obviously, but in that moment, I didn't blame her.
Feyre?
I didn't blame Mor.
Oh, I was like, I'm not going to lie. I disagree with Feyre on most things. I don't want to be a negative Nancy about Feyre because I like Feyre.
I was going to say, you're this far in. Once we get into book 3, any roasting done, you have to be a huge fan of this series to make it this far. Only the real fans make it this far in.
I am a big fan of this book, and I like Feyre. She just sometimes is such an annoying butthole. Where I'm like, why are you being this way? I think it's a little bit like a relationship. You know what I mean? Or like friendships, not like marital relationship, but like friendships where you're like, this dumb fuck is my friend. Like, there's those moments. We all have that friend where we're just constantly disappointed in their decisions, but we're like, but they're my idiot. Like, I got to keep them around.
So Feyre's your idiot?
Yeah, I think in the same sense that I'm your idiot. I think that's how it works.
After they have dinner, she's welcome to the family. Then I have a note of Feyre bjorns to the human lands with Rhysand.
Yeah, I love that. I do like her little Bjorn setup too.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, and how he T-poses.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And if you listen to our last episode, we have song all about that. We don't have a full song. We have 2 lines over top of Pearl Jam's Even Flow. So it makes total sense.
Chapter 57 is when they show up to her sister's house and they have the meeting with the queens. The queen meeting with the orb.
Yes. One more song note. Cannibal Queen.
I don't get it.
Cannibal Queen reminds me of like how Nesta interacts with this a little bit with Cassian, where there's this hint of Cassian being really nice, Nesta still kind of having some disdain, and then she's holding her own against the queens. This was a huge redeeming point for Nesta for me.
Yeah.
But the song Cannibal Queen is about how like he loves this girl and she takes bits and pieces of him.
Oh.
And it's kind of like that in a sense with Nesta, where Cassian's like being soft and she's just taking what she gets from him, but she's not giving him anything extra.
And the queens don't like Nesta. They bring up how she offended them. And I like...
And Nesta's like tough shit.
Yes. And Feyre clapped back of, well, if this is the worst thing that's offended you, that's pretty good.
Like, you guys are in a real world of shit when it actually goes bad.
You should probably give us that book.
Yeah. And it turns out the Golden Queen, who's similar to Moore, right? She's described as beautiful and these golden locks and blah, blah, blah. She's actually on their side.
Yeah. Re-listening to it, you could see that she was playing it cool and was an asshole in the meeting to kind of get them off her tail type of deal. And I realized while the queens were talking and how they don't want to take care of this area, I initially thought they didn't want to protect the community area where Elaine and Nesta live. I think it just means the human lands, and the queens live overseas. Because Nesta starts talking about how difficult it would be for all of the humans in the human lands to travel overseas. There aren't enough boats.
To evacuate.
Yeah, there's no evacuation plan, and it's not even possible.
It would be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, and one of the queens was talking about, well, you better get one of your Fae friends to carry you across the sea.
Yeah, which also I'm wondering, is it that short of a distance, too?
No.
Is this like the Florida Keys from Florida, where they're like, a day on a boat and you're there?
No, I think she was a butthole.
I enjoyed how the queens were relatively consistent in the way that they behaved before. The one queen brings up that she's unmoved by Rhysand's letter, even though he's like, I'm in love with a girl. I'm just a boy. Give us a book and I can save us all. And they're like, yeah, we don't actually give a shit about you. Thanks.
I have the note. Rhysand didn't end up sending nudes like we were guessing. It was a love letter.
It could have been both. Just because he's sending them pictures of peen doesn't mean that, you know, he's not also being like, you see this penis? This is for the girl I love. He's like, and then when I think of her, and it's just a second picture, but you have to turn it the other way because now he's hard. That makes sure
we are not getting into penis talk again. Anyways, more shows Velaris. And it was a really cool setup. It sounded like there was smoke everywhere, and that was their way of being able to see Velaris, all from an aerial view. And I was really kind of bothered that they could tell where this was located. And I almost wonder if they couldn't necessarily tell exactly where it was located, but they know enough about the Night Court to know its terrain And because it was an aerial view, they could see general idea of what type of terrain is going on in the mountains in the background to figure out where Velaris was.
I have a competing thought on this.
Okay.
The King of Hybern used the cauldron to eliminate the magical protections around Velaris because now he knows Velaris exists. Therefore, now he could find it.
Okay, because I have the note that...
We still haven't discussed that the queens are kind of in league with the King of Hybern, except for the Golden Queen, who leaves them the book and a note that says, hey, your speech about how much you love that girl moved me.
I just wanted to quick share. I had Rhysand's shields did nothing to protect it. It being a secret was its only protection. Yeah, okay. That kind of falls into your theory. Because I was just like, as soon as they show up, there was no shield, there was no block. Only Cassian had the shield for it.
Yeah. It was, I think that the King of Hybern was like, oh, he has a special city that everybody loves? Neat. The queens are like, yep, it's called Velaris. We don't know where the fuck it's at. He's like, don't worry about it. I'll ask my magic pot of goo to fix it for me. Magic pot of goo says, I'll destroy the shields and shit for you. Don't worry about it, homie. Then he can sense where all those people are and what's going on. We still don't know the King of Hybern exactly how powerful of a Fae he is on his own or what his superpowers are outside of a cult.
Yeah.
Arguably, he should be at least as powerful, if not more powerful, than the High Lords are.
Yeah, he confuses me.
Yeah, me too.
There weren't enough ships for evacuation. Then I have Cassian as a romantic man for Nesta. And later when Feyre is talking to him about, like, sometimes my sister is just a little difficult to love or difficult to express herself, whatever that whole conversation was. And he's just like, I would do that for anyone. And re-listening, he's like such a romantic. I was like, yeah, no, it's totally for anyone. Like, I'd do that for Elaine too.
But I want that angry Nesta wrapped around me.
Stop.
No, I get it. I think I'm the Cassian in this. I completely understand. At first, he was a little mystified by her bitchiness, and then he was entranced by it. He's like, oh my God, she's the perfect woman. Like, how could she be so comfortable being such an asshole? I kind of like it. I love Nesta too. I get it.
I think when we get to learn about her more later, it sounds like the next book is more about her. I'm not positive which one. There's one about her.
I refuse to acknowledge any of these spoilers as anything I'm going to keep in my brain.
Okay.
I barely keep the things that I am doing in my brain.
After the queens leave, we see the Golden Queen left the book. What struck me as odd was nobody could feel the book like they could the other one. Like, the magic wasn't emanating in the room. Like, she could feel it outside of the building in the other place.
Wasn't the magic of the other book, though, that she was sensing in large part the protection placed around that book?
Oh, okay, yeah,
that's how
sense.
I took it. The other book was also enchanted so that it couldn't be stolen and blah, blah, blah. It had all this high fae power to prevent that book from being taken, ostensibly.
That makes sense, because I took it as it was really ancient magic that surrounded it, not the fae magic protecting it.
Porque no los dos.
Yeah.
This book also is the opposing personality.
Yeah.
Of the other book, where it's like, ooh, hey, sexy, come take a look betwixt my pages.
I wrote down all the things that it said. I thought it was greeting everyone in the room. I think the second time listening, it was just greeting Feyre.
It called her Princess of Decay.
Yeah, so
I loved that.
I have it written down. Hello, sweet thing. Hello, Lady of Night, not Lady of the Night.
Important distinction. We don't know if the book's confused or we are.
Hello, Lady of Night, Princess of Decay. Hello, Fanged Beast, and Trembling Fawn. I thought that it was more Feyre, Amren. Wait, who's Fanged Beast?
I mean, to be fair, that could be
Trembling Fawn.
It could be Cassian if you want to make that argument, or it could be Rhys, for that matter. Fuck, it could be Nesta.
Ooh.
But
Trembling Fawn came off as if it was Elaine. Fanged Beast.
Well, here's my thing, though. None of this isn't enough descriptions for everybody in the room.
No, it's not enough.
And so I believe every single one of those.
Even there.
And I feel like every single one of those applies to Feyre.
Yeah.
I think it's all just discussing Feyre in that moment.
Yeah, because she's kind of all of those things. And the Golden Queen says, don't trust the others. The sixth queen was not ill.
And she says was, as in she's dead. or gone. I think that's also a thing. She doesn't say is not, wasn't.
Oh my gosh, I took it to mean like she's doing something nefarious. You think that she was actually killed, and that's why we shouldn't trust the others.
Well, I only say that because she's not speaking of that queen in a present tense of state of being.
Oh my god.
It's a past state of being.
I did not catch that. Chapter 58, they go back to the brownstone, and Amren gets the book, and she goes and hides away. And I like...
Browntown?
No.
Oh, okay.
You're lucky that you're getting brownstone in this.
That's actually what it's called, though.
Not by them. They call it the townhouse.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Our middle America won't let go on this part. We're like, a townhouse? Gross.
No. A brownstone.
It's described as a brownstone.
I do like that they said that they brought Amren some blood. In a way of telling us she has been cooped up and hidden away trying to crack this code. Now she has the other book. Give her food and she's hiding away again.
I don't think they gave her like a Capri Sun of Feyre, though.
No.
And I'm a little bummed out by that. Because I feel like if she just got a little sip of Feyre juice, I stand by. There has to be, Feyre must inspire superpowers. Because also when Rhysand, when she's like, oh, you're healed, he's like, dude, 1,000% better because of your blood. Like,
no, he said because of the flower and thank you. He said the flower name.
Because of you.
Well, it was because of you, and then it was like a sweet thing of the flower, thank you.
I stand by. I think that there's something in her blood, and it's going to spread a bit. Rhysand has to become more powerful to be the guy that the girls are supposed to be fawning over. He's super powerful now, but if Feyre becomes more powerful, I think that kind of makes him less of a, oh my god, he's perfect.
They're equals.
Yeah, but at this point they're equals. She's going to continue becoming more powerful. She is a 1-year-old Fae, technically.
I took it as...
Her power isn't matured yet.
I took it as he's more powerful than her right now because he knows how to use it, but she is going to become as powerful as him, and they will be equals. There is no power imbalance.
At this point, she's going to lap him. She has his powers and everybody else's.
To a fraction, like a fraction of what they have.
I think the well of magical energy she's going to have is going to be boundless. And I think that he's going to have to gain more power because you can't continue to make him interesting in the same way. If he's just consistently this uber Billy badass guy, he also needs this, oh my, I'm struggling with this thing too. And then she helps him and now he's even more powerful.
Well, he's sometimes absent-minded, like he forgot to wipe the minds of all the guards.
I thought you were going to say his ass. When you first said wipe. That's how I know my brain's in a different place than yours. He forgot to wipe his ass.
And Feyre needed to help him.
And the guards. Feyre went down there and...
No, we are moving you on. Continuing forward.
She found a booty buffet.
No. Buffera.
Hey, good job. That was a great one. I don't mean to sound patronizing while I'm laughing. I just didn't see it coming. You did so great. Oh my God, you're funny. Fuck.
Just gonna repeat that one again and again and again.
You are funny. Oh man, unbelievable.
2 days later, Rhys and Moore go to the night court to return the orb and to make sure that the armies are all ready. And then they celebrate their mating, which is kind of funny, I guess. I don't know.
I missed that whole thing. Did they have dinner there?
Yeah.
Like a big announcement?
Yeah, just with their friends. It was just like a together.
Oh, I thought you meant under the mountain.
No, so...
In the Court of Nightmares is what I thought you were saying.
Wait, let's back up. 2 days later, after they come back from the meeting with the queens, Rhys and Moore are getting ready to go to the Court of Nightmares.
Okay.
Right before that, they celebrate their mating. And it kind of made me think of having like a get-together dinner and you share with everyone, we're going to try having a baby. And everyone celebrates that you two are just now banging without condoms.
Oh, I took it more as like when you have this relationship, imagine maybe you had this, I guess. By the time I was at the age of having sex, I wasn't like, hey, let's go to church every Sunday type of thing, right? But I could imagine in like the Mormon community when they're like, hey, good news, guys, we're fucking. And everybody's like, yeah, you're doing it. Good job. You're all fucking now. Like, that's what I took it as. Not so much that we're trying to have a baby, more so just like, congratulations. Neither of you are virgins anymore. Like, But they weren't already virgins? I don't know. It got
It's a
weird.
mating celebration.
I want one.
No.
I want a mating celebration.
No.
Why?
No.
I'm going to invite all of our closest friends to dinner. And then as soon as things start to quiet down, I will make a big announcement in the restaurant. I'll be like, guys, Adrian and I fuck sometimes. And I expect cheers.
Get out of here.
I'll order cake. Everybody will have a great time. It's going to be amazing. Creme brulee.
Rhys and more. They go to the Court of Nightmares. Then Cassian and Feyre have their one-on-one talk about Nesta. This is when that happens. And I thought it was a nice moment because Feyre has always kind of looked out for her sisters, but in this way, we saw it at the very beginning, right as she's being taken away from Tamlin. She tells Elaine, I think, that he beats, like the dad beats his wife. Is that who you want to marry?
Nesta.
It was Nesta?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's really cute that this whole conversation happened.
Yeah, and I love that Cassian was in total denial of the fact that he's like crushing on Nesta. He's just like, I would do that for anybody.
She just smells better than the other girls. I don't know what you're talking about. I just kind of want to be near her always and protect her. Totally nothing.
Yeah, Cassian's a good dude.
Oh, and as she's talking about her sister and how her sister is very protective of Elaine, doesn't really open up to others and whatnot, it got me thinking about the trolley question and how Feyre would answer it versus how Nesta would answer it. Do you think that Feyre, when given the option of saving few but closer people versus many people, who would she choose? Like for the greater good.
It's few and closer, and we learned that under the mountain when she struggled to kill to stab Tamlin in the heart, knowing that was all she had to do to release the entire court, but was only willing to do so when she convinced herself that he had a heart of stone and wouldn't actually die.
Okay, yeah.
I don't believe Feyre is capable of making a decision that is selfless on a grand scale, as opposed to selfish at this point. I think eventually that's a part of her hero's journey, is developing that.
Yeah. Well, it seems like she thinks that she's the one that will choose everybody over a few, especially when she was talking about Nesta and how Nesta is like, choose a few over everybody. But yeah, no, that was a great example with evidence of, no, you make these decisions, and I remember what you were thinking when you were making that decision.
I think Nesta as a character is almost more so Feyre unfiltered than them being different.
Okay,
I think they're very similar characters, and I think some of that's really intelligent because they are sisters. They were raised in the same house. Their experiences are parallel.
How do you relate this with Elaine? Elaine is very soft, sweet, innocent.
I would say Elaine is sheltered by her older sister Nesta, and then her younger sister Feyre took on things when things got really hard. I would say Elaine, some of it's probably personality, and then you get into the whole like, oh, is it more about nature or nurture? But I do think the majority of this is her nature is softer, and Feyre and Nesta have a more similar nature, and their nurture is similar as well, other than Feyre was the one that had to provide, and I think that's what makes her different than Nesta.
Okay.
If they'd continued to be privileged, I think those two would probably have parallel personalities.
And after their conversation, there's an abrupt shift, just like this conversation, into the attack from the adders.
Chimpanzee riding on a Segway. Get it?
Is that what? No, I don't get it.
Segway is when conversation flows into something different.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Remember the old YouTube video?
Yes.
Chimpanzee riding on a Segway. Chimpanzee.
We are so old.
Yeah. But I'm the chimpanzee riding on the Segway.
Anyways, adders, that's the name of the one. She just said they are like the adder. That is not the name of a breed. It's not like dogs. It's like the name of a dog.
Dog is also not the name of a breed.
Anyways, I was trying to say.
Oh, that's interesting, Pat. What breed is it? Dog, I believe. That's purebred dog right there. No cat in him.
I was just trying to get at the adder, I think, is a title or name, and that they are all just like him, but I don't know what type of
they are
they
the same
are.
creature.
Yeah, whatever
That's the
they
adder.
are.
The adder is, a title. I believe he's in charge.
You loved Cassian's transition into his Illyrian armor.
It was Iron Man 2. It was so cool. The way like he like touches them, boop boop, and then they like doot. I'm just making a bunch of noises, so people will know what I mean.
Yeah.
The armor grows around him.
Yeah, you set the scene with
Word
Iron Man.
picture. Iron Man. Do. Now you know what's going on.
Yep.
And now he's gonna fight. Shit, what was that guy's name? Mickey Rourke.
Oh wow. Okay.
Was the actor who played in Iron Man 2, the guy with the whips? You remember? They were at the Formula 1 race.
You can remember these names, but you cannot remember characters in the current book you're reading.
Mickey Rourke wasn't his character name. That's a real person.
Yeah, point proven.
Okay. I don't know the character's name. I know Iron Man.
I thought it was so badass how Amryn could just point at the adders and they just fell and crumbled and cried.
I got a little hard.
Oh.
Like, oh my God. She's so powerful. You know what I mean? You're just
Yes.
like, oh shit. There is something so cool about she's pointing and they're just falling from the sky. If she was like, you're going downtown, you just do it. There's something about that where you're like, I like it. She is so powerful. She's a real masochistic mommy. Nope, it wasn't masochistic.
Yeah, it was. That's what you had.
Yeah, I feel like I could have done more.
No.
Okay.
Not allowed to do that to her.
To her.
You said, I wish I could have done more.
Oh, nice. I see what you mean. Well done. Oh, wordplay, you are funny.
Oh.
Good job. I didn't catch it.
And you listened to this chapter 58, and I had fallen asleep. And the next day you're like, you have to listen to it. And you're just watching me listen to it, waiting for my reaction to the Golden Queen being impaled and dying.
Oh, yeah. The way it described her. She was dropped from the sky onto a lamppost.
Yeah.
Her eyes gouged out and her hair ripped out from her skull.
Yeah.
Just no hair left, no eyes. All of her incredible features destroyed because they're that fucking cruel. And then she's still alive while impaled on this lamppost, and Feyre takes so fucking long to decide if she can help that she dies there.
I don't think there was any saving her. Like, how do you get her off the lamppost?
She can do anything. She's Feyre. She literally creates wolves from water.
But she didn't know she could do that yet.
I think she did. She talks about how she can make animals from water like 50 chapters ago. I think she could have tried. Instead, she's like, oh, now I'll try. And she moves forward and the lady goes, eh, and then she's done. And you're like, well, if you didn't spend 2 minutes deliberating, you probably could have figured this shit out.
The adder, when he drops her, says, regards from the mortal queens in Jurian. Is Jurian now alive?
Yeah, I believe so.
It wasn't a past tense or like a part of him. It was just the queens and Jurian.
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
That's intense.
Yeah, and honestly, the whole Jurian thing is not intimidating me the way that it's supposed to, probably. Just because so far he's got an eyeball and a finger to me, so he's not a big deal.
I don't understand his purpose yet. And that might be why I don't fully know what's going on and why they need him, but...
Well, here's what kills me. He went head-to-head with Amarantha, right? And Amarantha killed him, basically. Because Rhys talks about how I was in these chains bound, and I watched him steal the kill from me, except that's not how it went. She fucking murdered him, and then she took his eyeball and his finger and spent the next week picking him apart slowly until my dad showed up, and then she had to kill him quick so she could move on. But she wasn't so strong. Okay, Jurian wasn't so strong because he got beat by Amarantha. Amarantha was immediately murdered by who we can say so far is not the most powerful High Lord. Tamlin kills her.
She's not a High Lord even. She's a Fae.
Yeah.
A High Fae.
Yeah, but she could be some other sort of uber competing High Fae, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the other High Fae, she's quite powerful. But what I'm saying is Jurian was less powerful than Tamlin.
Jurian's a human.
Correct, but in some way he was expected to do well against her if he intended on beating her.
Yeah.
And he killed her sister. Like, he didn't just think he was going to fight her. He wanted her enraged beforehand.
Yeah.
Right? So there must be something special about Jurian, but I don't think, unless he's brought back in a way that Feyre is, where now he has Fae powers, maybe the Cauldron does this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's the only way in which he becomes a real threat. Other than he's an incredible general, is what we've been told. He commands forces of people well.
No clue. But it sounds like he's alive.
Yeah, I'm just super bummed out that the other queens are like, fuck it, we're getting rid of this one too. There were 6, now there are 4.
Yeah.
Their numbers are dwindling quick.
They moved quickly because I think it had been just a few days after they had met with the queens. Then chapter 58 ends with Feyre making the water wolves and hawks and turning it into ice. And one of the issues that I had was she was trying to get the adder at the end with the hawks, the water hawks, to slash him.
Hawk. She goes through every goddamn bird.
Trying to get him with the water, and she couldn't get him, so she couldn't freeze him. But the way she was freezing them was almost like, what's that, nitrogen? Or is it just nitrogen?
Liquid nitrogen.
Yeah. It seemed to be the way that she froze them, because she hit them with water, then she turned them to ice, but it was like through their bones because they fell to the ground and shattered, which you don't need water to do that.
Well, to be fair, all that the water was doing was freezing on the surface, evidently. The actual freezing was coming from her converting all the moisture into ice.
Well, what I was saying was she was saying that she couldn't do that to the adder because she couldn't hit him with any water. And that's when I
agree. It was absurd.
Yeah, that's when we get into chapter 59, where she winnows on top of him and then stabs him.
Yeah, and he, I don't think, suffered enough.
No.
And this is where I know that I would be so much worse of a person even than Feyre. I'm pretty judgmental of her. But the reality is, after I would see that queen with her hair ripped out and her eyes gouged out and all of the other shit you saw him do, I would not have killed him. He stays alive, and I just make his living days as horrible as they can be until after he's wishing for death. And you don't grant that to him until he is finally feeling like there's something worth living for. You bring him back up just enough to then finally kill him when he thinks he's going to make it.
That is diabolical.
Yeah.
Well, she was the one that needed to kill him. That is what I cared most about, was that it was her that did it. It wasn't Rhysand. It wasn't anyone else. It had to be her. And when she killed him, she turned into a ball of flame. She got him with the ash arrows and poison. Then she had her dagger, and she stabbed him for Rhysand, Claire, and herself.
Yep.
And she winnowed last minute, which was badass. And she was called by Rhysand Feyre Cursebreaker, Defender of the Rainbow. What is the rainbow? That was mentioned a few times. What's the rainbow? Is it like a area?
Velaris. Velaris is encompassed. Like there's a rainbow. Velaris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a rainbow on top of Velaris.
I think there's a rainbow within Velaris somewhere.
Yeah.
And near the water.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's what it ends on, is Rhysand showing up.
Yeah, and good. I'm so glad that he didn't come in and just save the day.
I really like that it shows the power level that the team has without Mor and Rhysand.
Well, and Cassian, when he's first trying to hold him back and it's not really working, right? Then Azriel shows up and their powers combined. Because then she talks about, she's like, it's blue and red, baby. They're up there. We need one hero like Amryn, where like if her power was white, it would just be like we all start slowly saluting. God bless America comes up there.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
It's just like, I'm sending eagles after these guys. Feyre, freedom fighter. I think that would be so cool. I'm not like this huge patriotic dude, but it would be hilarious. And then there's like just this image, you know, like Mufasa in The Lion King, where like he's in the stars. It's just Toby Keith up there because he's dead in real life. R.I.P. Toby.
No, all this is doing is adding to your playlist.
I'm just saying. Just imagine, it's like, we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way.
The Velaris way.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Rhysand, put your name at the top of his list. I mean, I think it would be so fucking funny. Oh, dude. Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. What do you think is going to happen in the next several chapters?
Honestly, probably USO tour.
No. I think instead of us hearing from Hybern, we're actually going to learn more about Tamlin in these next several chapters.
So,
I think it's going to do a complete shift where you think we're going to go this way and figure this out. We're going to learn about Tamlin.
Okay. And with that, I did have a question further back, but I was interjecting so much already that I felt bad.
Okay. What was it?
So the book was given freely by one of 6 queens.
Yes.
Is that how that rule works? If it would only had to be 1 in 6 that would give you the book?
I guess
you know what
so.
I mean? Because technically they were given the book through layers of deception. Whether or not they intended that deception the Golden Queen did deceive the other queens to give them the book.
I think
Clearly it works, but...
Given that it did work, it means that each of the queens are responsible for it and they can share it. That's about it. Pretty simple.
Could have been any of them. All right.
Could have been.
Yeah, all right. Well, that was my only real
But
flaw.
now, do they give the book back at the end, especially when you killed the Golden Queen, or you just keep it?
I think the real trick ends up being, there was no deal made for the exchange of the book in reality, right? The only person who actually formed a deal with them was the Golden Queen. The other queens never entered a deal for this book because they didn't give it.
What was the deal?
The deal was supposed to be like, hey, you give us this book, we'll help you guys fight, but we need this, so on and so forth. We can help you guys.
Yeah.
They no longer need to help those queens. They can help the human lands, but to be fair, the first thing I go do now, if I'm these guys, is I go take out every fucking one of those queens. They have the power to winnow. Somebody is clearly on their side. Maybe it is the King of Hybern. Maybe they've been turned like a touch fae. You know, they got a touch of baptism.
No, they were given powers.
I said it's a gift from your people,
Yeah,
and
it's a
the
gift.
King of Hybern is a fae. Therefore, he could have given them the gift of winnowing.
It was from the... Okay, yeah.
Because they all seem surprised by this, and it seems like the rest of them were alive for the war.
Yeah,
They would have known whoever would have given them this.
Moore was there at the time of the treaty.
Yeah.
She should have known if they were given this power.
And Rhysand was recovering after the war, remember?
How can
For the
you
last few battles.
How can you hate Fae so much and their powers and all this and mock them and then yet want it?
Oh, I don't see that as a problem. It's the same way I feel about rich people.
Okay, yeah, that's a good analogy.
I don't hate money. I hate that they have it. And the way they're using it pisses me off.
Okay, were there any other things you had?
Just a couple little keynotes here, right? Feyre now reliably winnows. She, when they see the birds, not the birds, but the adder-like beasts coming at them, right? Says, I'll pick each one of those motherfuckers off one by one. We actually don't know if any of them, like some of them started to flee, right? Is the idea, or was it just the adder that was trying to flee at the end?
Oh, yeah, because I was wondering, did any go back or did they all die?
That's what I'm wondering. And if they all died, this is really good news for Rhysand in a way. You sent a fleet of adders, right? A whole squadron of them bad boys. And we dropped them in 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you send next better be fucking big because we're coming for you. Like, I think I want aggression. I understand that they need to be smarter about it and planning, blah, 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 but it seems like their lack of forward momentum and the time they spend dallying is what's causing all of these issues, and it stresses me the fuck out.
But they can't really move forward until Amren has solved things with the book.
That's not true. As of right now, you got the book, and you know that those other queens sold out that queen. You need nothing more from them now. Now, you go into the human land, you show the fuck up, and you're like, hey, you guys are all done.
How do you fight against the cauldron without knowing how to use the book?
I'm saying you have the book currently. The queens offer you nothing in method of understanding that. All they are now is an ally for Hybern. You go through, clear them the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get rid of the queens. And in that whole idea, I bring them back with me. Now you're in Prythian. You have no fucking power here. We're going to put you under my mountain, right? I'm putting them in the Court of Nightmares, and I'm saying, hey, what's her name's dad? What's her name again?
Kier.
No.
Kier's the dad's name.
Oh, wow. Great job. All right, Kier, you're going to get an answer out of this lady. If you don't have an answer out of this lady in the next day and a half, I'm killing you and her.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but this is the thing. You're Rhysand. You're supposed to be the Billy badass under that mountain. You're not the nice guy. And he has the capability of being that person because he does murder and torture people.
But if he really wants peace, like he said he does, like to the Golden Queen, he cannot continue to be that guy with the Court of Nightmares.
Yeah, well, also tough shit. You can't be both. You may not be the ambassador of peace, but if you want peace, you have to eliminate the people that are working against the better interest of not just their own people, but your people, right?
Vigilante style.
Yeah, you got to Batman your way through this shit. No pun intended with those crazy wings and stuff. But I do think that that's the idea. What's the biggest flaw in Batman? They address it every so often. It's that he doesn't kill, blah, blah, blah. Superman, oh, you never kill these people. So they're a constant reoccurring problem and people die unnecessarily.
Like it's giving Punisher vibes. Where Punisher, the reason behind the kills is for good and to finally end what those people are doing.
Yeah, Frank Castle your way through those guys.
Yeah.
See, I can remember that name too. Look at me go.
Mhm.
I'm really killing it here. But no, I sincerely think if Rhys did this, right, number one, decide which queen you're going to save. I would keep the old lady, even though she's more than likely the least likely one to communicate with you, right, willingly. She's also probably the one that knows the most. So I kill the other queens, and it's no harm, no foul. We get rid of them. We sack those queens. They can figure out who their heirs and stuff are next. And then we have the old lady. We bring her back under the mountain. Be like, Kier is his name? The irony of him being injured and his name being Kier is so funny to me.
Keir, I think.
Kier?
Yeah.
Then it's such a subtle pronunciation difference. I would never have got that.
Or
We should read this book.
Kier, something like that.
Kier. Yeah, either way, I like it. Well, I tell him, I'm like, listen, you figure this shit out or you're going down too. And to be honest, I probably kill him also at the end of this because he's going to be a problem for me later. He hates me and he's relatively powerful. The King of Hybern. By then, Amryn hopefully has got her shit figured out with that book, right? Until then, she's Google translating the shit out of that. My forces are coming through and we're just doing what we can to eliminate most of Hybern.
I don't think you're going to get any of this, so I would lower your standards before we start the next
Wouldn't
chapter.
it be cool?
Yep. It would
You
be.
don't? You disagree?
I'm here for the fantasy romance.
Oh. So you want her to fuck the King of Hybern? You're in love with my brother? You're in love with me. No, that's fair. I get it. I'm here for the action, and that's why that was absolutely my favorite chapter.
I really like that nearly every episode you have a new favorite chapter because it's better than the previous.
I'm thoroughly enjoying this book. When I'm shitting on these characters, it is out of love, kind of, sometimes. Sometimes it's out of the characters being a shit. But generally speaking, it's been awesome.
I agree. I really liked it.
Me too.
I love you.
I love you.
You're my bestie with the testes.
You're my bestie breasties.
I love these.
I love these. It was a great time. We had fun. Now get out and go live your life.
No, wait. No. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate and love you all. Please follow us here, TikTok or Instagram at Shadow Daddies Podcast.
And then go live your life.
Bye.
Bye. Get out. We're done. This was Daggers and Shadow Daddies. Now it's my time. Toodaloo. It was fun for us. I hope it was fun for you. But that's all we've got. Goodbye. Come back in a few days. We love you.